Well, we've seen the strike seems to be effective in most places. First of all, what's your take on the effectiveness of the strike so far? You think the NLC has been able to successfully embark on the strike like they threatened?
Well, I may not want to score NLC yet until when I have seen outcome.
Okay.
You understand my point? It's still in progression. At the end of the day, we should be able to give a summative evaluation of what the strike is all about. Because if the strike at the end of the day is able to solve the demanding issues brought by NLC, I think we should be able to say, yes, the strike is a good one. But if at the end of the day, the strike was not able to meet up with obligations, that is to say that it's a failed totally. However, Anita, we should try to think a why and reflect as to the reasons why the strike should be carried out for the first place.
Oh, you think the strike should be carried out?
Yes, okay. Yes. I think that is the only language the government could hear. Yes. Without it, it wouldn't be possible. Let us look at some of the demands. 1, hike in transport. 2, poverty. 3, foodstuffs. You can't even dare it. You can't dare it. If you go to the market, you can be just walking about in the market. People will think you come to see the market, but you want to buy. Looking at the money you have cannot take you home. It becomes a very serious problem. So, the subsidy, the government might be getting it wrong. For me, it could be that they are not the brainchild of the subsidy. Probably, they would have invited the person who initiated that plan of removal of subsidy. Good luck, Ebele Jonathan. Who knows? Could be the reason why they are getting it wrong. And besides, if you are talking about policy formulation, before you promulgate a policy, there could be a problem. And that was why the then President Jonathan said, no, this could be lacking the economic policy to help to sanitize the system, the petroleum sector. So when he discovered that there is massive corruption in subsidizing of fuel, it started in 2011. The same government of today stood against it. I may not want to do that line, but what I'm trying to say is the fact that before you carry out, before you even think of it, bringing in policy, you test run that policy. Psychological test running that policy without proper implementation of it. What am I trying to say? Sample opinion and borrow an idea from people where you are going to bring in that policy. You see, government does not run in isolation, and that's one of the problems we are having. There must be stakeholders meeting. There must be stakeholders engagement. There must be advocacy visit to let people know. There must be jingles. We want to, where democracy runs the way it is, because the modern democracy where Nigeria falling is patterned after America, the modern democracy, government of the people, of which whatever thing the government is doing must get the consent of the people, because they will bear the brunt of that policy if it goes sour. But it's better. You also have a feedback. There must be a test run psychologically to know what people will say about this thing.
Now, talking about having a feedback, one of the reasons the NLC is doing this is talking about the sufferings of the people and impoverishment of their lives. Now, you know that the Buhari, when he brought up this and saw that the effect was really devastating on the people, he said, okay, we are going to come up with a palliative. Now, he said at first it pegged at 8,000 naira, about 12 million families, all of that. Now, and people kept saying, oh, no, this is not good enough. This is too poor for a country like Nigeria and for what the people are going through, all of that. If you talk about feedback, I think the president took the feedback. I think the president acted on that feedback and said, okay, we are going to change the pattern. Let's send 5 billion naira to each of the states, 5 trucks of rice to each of the states. Isn't that working on the feedback? Is there something else you expect the president to do at this time? Because most people still believe that the removal of fuel subsidy has been long overdue.
I want to believe that, but then, Anita, let me tell us, palliative is a political lexicon adopted by Nigeria. politicians who act as if they are Epicurean philosophers of Aristotle's time, who believes in pleasure. Let us eat today and die, and the Stoics. That is all about it. Ordinarily, you look at the psychology of people, you know that the most vulnerable person in the society will suffer out of this thing. There is what to call gestation period in every policy. If A does not work, B would always work. How can you get accurate data? People continue to criticize Nigeria that our data is so dwarf because we cannot even give account of the population we have in the country. Not to talk of bringing a palliative. I have some quarters. I wouldn't know whether it's true or not. That the state, River State, is giving 5,000, 300 bags of rice to each political ward. Let me use, for instance, in my own ward, Ikemechi ward. Do you know how many inhabitants in that ward? How many costs of rice can each household get? So going forward, what I'm trying to say in a sense is that the government knows the problem, but they lack the political will to solve the problem. And what is the problem? The refinery. Is it devil in the refinery? People has been, every year, there is budgetary allocation to workers and other things in the refinery. Government will approve, and you are paying people when they are not producing. How can you continue to consume without production? That is the problem. So if actually government were sincere, nothing like palliative, my sister, put the refinery in order before you even think about the money you are borrowing from left, right, and center. Why not borrow and fix the refinery? The moment the subsidy removed, you channel the same money you remove, the gain made from the subsidy and for a repayment plan. How can you just remove subsidy? And you are giving us, see, my people, there is one local adage my people used to say, you sell a dog and bought a monkey, something that has long tail is still in your house. You have not solved the problem.
Now, you think that this is going to bring any form of change, is going to push the government out of their comfort zone? Because prior to this day, as at yesterday, they were begging the NLC, let's give us some more time to do what we can do to meet up your demands. But the NLC is still hell-bent, and so they decided to go on their strike today. Today, tomorrow, do you think anything positive can come out of this?
Anita, I want to ask us, what is that thing that government want to do that have not done? Remember, this government is a subsidiary of President Buhari's administration. A line of idea, a line of political agenda. What is it? See, we cannot continue to solve our problem in isolation. I want to state it categorically that one of the major problems we are having is mono-economy. There are solid minerals. Harness these opportunities and make them work, so that the burden on petroleum will collapse. Most of our industries are gone moribund. Every day, one task force order petroleum. There are solid minerals. We are talking about solid minerals in Zamfara, Plateau, Kogi, Bauchi. These ones are finally converted to private pocket. People go there mile. The other day, they shut down one mining industry somewhere in Port Harcourt here, somewhere in Rumalog. I wouldn't know. I don't know what it's all about. So what am I saying? Why not? There are many avenues Nigeria can get money, but we allow these things. The quick action, petroleum. That is why we're having these issues. If the money you are borrowing, we want to borrow money to revive a Jokuta steel industry. We want to borrow money to establish industry, to to widen the space of our economy. People will gain work. The level of hunger and strife will reduce drastically. That is one of the problems we are having.
You know that we're talking about economy and the fact that it's not progressing, just like you've painted it. Now, the NLC has come in to halt activities. You think this is in the best interest of Nigerians?
Yes, because it's the only language that the government of Nigeria can listen.
You think so?
Yes, these 2 days we cannot die. Let it sound as a warning. If actually they can wake up to the call, if actually they can be conscientized, if actually they have the political will